guys, it's Eddie the Magic Monk. Today I want to talk about stratified sampling, which is covered as part of the Maths A curriculum, and what I'll do is use context in terms of a school. So let's talk about a school that I'm just going to invent. So this school called Venus College. Okay, so in terms of this school, I now want to talk about two different ways of collecting information from the students. The first method is called a census. So what the census does is it collects information from every student in this college. So let's say in Venus College there were 2,000 students. I don't know why I'm saying students with an American accent, but when you are talking about a census, you're collecting information from the whole 2,000 people. So what that means is you have collected the information from the whole population, because the population represents everybody in Venus College. Okay, so that's what a census is. Now let's talk about what a survey is, which is the second way of getting information. So a survey is when you only collect the information from a selection of the population. So rather than collecting the information from every single student, you only collect information from, let's say, 50 students. So you don't have to hand out a survey to every single student in the school, because that would probably take a very long time to process the information. So a census, an example would be exams. Okay, every student in this school probably has to do an exam to get their grades, and you're collecting information from them about how much they know. Okay, and a survey, an example would be, for example, when you want to find out from the students what sort of social network do they use. You're probably not going to ask all 2,000 students, right? Most of us probably just talk to a few friends. Now that's actually a kind of a survey, a very informal one that might not get you the results, but a survey is when you only talk to, or when you only get information from a selection of the population. Now this selection of the population, we have a word for that. We have a word for that called a sample. A sample of the population. So this video we're going to talk about how to select the 50 students from the 2,000 students, so that the information you collect can best represent the opinion of the whole population, right? Because you're only getting information from 50 students. So in order to avoid bias in the information, you have to make sure that the 50 students you select can somehow represent everyone. So how is that possible? Well, let's talk about the stratified sampling technique. So let's say that at the fake school that I invented, Venus College, there are 2,000 students distributed across these year levels. So grade 7s, there are 250 students, grade 8s, 200 students, a lot of grade 12s, mainly because I probably didn't make up the question right. But so in this school, 2,000 students distributed across 6 year levels. And now we're going to talk about how to choose 50 people from this school. Okay, we're only going to choose 50 people from the school to hand out our survey on finding out the most popular social network. So the first thing we're going to do, so remember, so far all this information is given to us. Okay, all this information is given to us as part of the question. So what we're going to do is firstly find out the total number of students. So you write total, the number of students, so you add all these numbers together, 250 plus 200 plus 300, add them all together, and you will get 2,000. That's the total number of students. The next thing you do is you find out the percentage of students in each of these year levels. Okay, so instead of finding a percentage, I'm going to express it as a fraction. So the proportion of students in year 7 would be 250 divided by 2,000. 250 out of 2,000. Now you can type this in your calculator, which will give you 0.125 or 12.5% of students are in year 7, but we don't need that information. Okay, we can do it without doing this extra stuff. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so let's do the same with all of these year levels. There are 200 students in year 8, 300 students in year 9, 400 students in year 10, 300 in year 11, 550 in year 12. Okay, so now what we're going to do is determine how many students we're going to survey in each year level. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is get the total number of students we are including in the survey, which is 50 students. If you guys remember, we're collecting information from 50 students. So we just simply go 50 multiplied by the fraction of students in that year level. So 50 times 250 over 2,000. Type that into your calculator. 50 times 250 over 2,000. And I have 6.25. So you're just going to repeat that process with all of these year levels. So we got 200 over 2,000 times 50, 300 over 2,000 times 50. So just repeat that with all of these rows, and let's see what we come up with. Okay, so now we have the number of students we're going to collect in the survey, in the sample. Now there's a bit of a problem, and that is some of the numbers have a decimal. So you need to round it. You need to round the numbers. Let's round them using the first decimal place. So 6.25, let's change that to 6, right? Because this number 2 is smaller than 5, so we round down. 5, we don't have to round. 7.5 is now 8. So that's 8 again, and that's 14. Now let's try adding them all together and see if that will give us 50 students. See if that will give us 50 students. So we go 6 plus 5 plus 8 and so on. Let's add all that together. And that actually got us 51 students, which is not what we wanted, right? Because we only wanted 50 students. Now, unfortunately, this means that we have to probably subtract one student from one of these. I guess we probably should take one of year 12s. So let's change the 14 to 13, and then we would have 50 students. Now, the decision was made based on the fact that the only other ones you can probably subtract 1 from is 7.5, but since these two are the same number, okay, if you subtract 1 from the other, it probably doesn't make sense if one of them is bigger than the other when they have the exact same number of students. So I chose to subtract 1 from the year 12s, but chances are you probably won't need to do that in a real exam because they'll set it up so that you don't need to do that. Okay, so, but the major thing that we need to understand here is there are more year 12 students. Okay, there are more year 12s. There are 550 year 12s. So we survey 13 students in year 12, which is more than every other year level. Okay, so that is the number of students we're going to survey. So let's write our answer in a sentence. In a sample of 50 students, 6 students are from grade 7, 5 students from year 8, 8 students from year 9, 10 students from year 10, 8 students from year 11, 13 students from year 12. Okay, so we have finished selecting the sample, and now all we've got to do is hand out the survey to these 50 students to get the data. Okay, I hope you guys understand the maths behind stratified sampling. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.